Alright, I had a request to show some of the things I've done to my boat. So here it is. It's a Perception Rambler 13.5, 13 and a half foot kayak. It's actually a tandem, but it actually has 3 seats. It's got a third seat that's made for a pretty much child, I think. I tried to use it one time setting from that center position as a solo kayak, and it was really hard for me to steer. So don't know, maybe if I was doing something wrong, or maybe I didn't have my kayak balanced right. But anyway, I was not happy sitting in that center position. Also, when we first got it, we took it out one time, and my wife sat in the very back and I sat in the center position, and for me that center seat is just very uncomfortable. I'm not 100% sure why, but I know I can sit in the back seat and be a lot more comfortable in it. So that's normally where I sit. For me, I haven't tried to stand in it. Don't think I'll attempt that. I just think I'm a little too top heavy to try to be standing in this particular kayak. But as far as things that I've done to it, I installed 2 paddle clips. Not really a huge fan of those particular kind of paddle clips, but what I did was also install the bungee cords that hold them down as well, so that works out a lot better. And I got 2 of them, so got them on the front and the back. Another thing I did up here, there was when I got the kayak, there was nothing up here on this front end. It was just bare deck space. Originally I'd put a Scotty mount up there, and didn't really like it. It was too far away for the person in the front seat to really comfortably use it, so I took it off of there, put some marine goop to seal the holes. Anyway, I put a bungee with some J hooks on there, so that stuff can be stowed up on this very front piece. Every one of these things will come loose. It's only attached on the 2 ends. Every other piece on here are just J hooks, so it can pretty much be conformed any way you need it to conform to fit whatever you need to put there. Speaking of the Scotty mount, or this is a Railblazer mount, I guess, but I moved it back here and lowered it so that it's totally out of the way if the person is paddling, and it's also adjustable for them. And of course I got the scupper plugs. My wife's convinced that if there's water coming through the scupper holes, the boat's sinking, so we have to have scupper plugs. This boat didn't come with any portholes whatsoever. I would have liked to put the 8-inch portholes on there instead of the 6-inch, but I couldn't find any that I was really liking. I found a couple that were white, and I really wanted black ones, and I didn't really like the way they latched on. That just didn't feel secure to me, so I opted to go with the red ones, or the black ones. And the nice thing about these is once you open it, there is a bag in there. I don't think the bag is watertight, and I don't think it needs to be, but that whole thing does slip right out of there, so if you don't want to use the bags, you can take them out. I installed 3 of these. I installed one here, I installed one there, and I installed one in the very back seating position. Once again, I wish I could have found the 8-inch ones to put those in there. I just think they would have been much more useful for some larger items. They're kind of small. The seats that this kayak comes with are the Harmony seats, and they're not too awful bad. I mean, they'll get the job done. My wife actually got me that seat right there, and it is a Yak Gear Seat, but I'm a little disappointed with it because we were out kayaking today, and the rods are coming through the space on there, so the rods come completely through, and this one actually the rod is going through the bottom, So I'm going to have to take a look at that and see what I can do to repair this. But that particular seat is much more comfortable than the Harmony seats, but like I said, it's apparently not very durable. And I am a pretty sizable guy. I weigh 260, and I'm just a hair under 6 feet tall. So anyway, of course I have leashes on my paddles. I just think you don't have leashes on your paddles, you're nuts. But that's just me. Didn't come with any fishing spots at all for poles, so I installed 2 of them. Put that one there, and I put that one in there. Another thing I did to the back here, this bungee cord was actually looped through this area right here, and it was kind of limited to what you could actually do with it. So what I did was install J-hooks on it. So now I can take these completely off and open it wide up and then strap things down. Comes in handy because what I do with it is my trolley, when I'm on the water, of course I turn it upside down and I stick it through the scupper holes on the top side, and then I take my Yak Gear crate and I set it on top of there, and then I use those straps to strap it all down. And it actually does work very, very well. When I had my rollover, nothing in the back of my kayak moved, so that works well. One thing I did do to my crate, I cut grooves in the bottom of the crate on the underside, so it matches where the PVC for the handle on my trolley fit when they're on the top of the boat. My trolley's a little large. I don't know that I'm 100% happy with it. My thought process when I was designing it was I wanted to be able to put the trolley in by myself, and I can do that. And what I do is I lift it up from the carrying handle, and then I grab the white part of the PVC and just slide it along the keel of the boat until it finds the scupper holes. So actually it does work. It's just kind of big. I actually ended up designing this twice, because the first time I made it, my wheels actually blocked my recessed rod holders. So what I did, I took it apart and I got a metal rod and pretty much used the whole length of it. I think it's about 3 feet. And basically what that does is it puts my wheels wide enough that I can still access both of those recessed rod holders if I need to. Another thing I did is I put the anchor trolley on. I probably could have came farther back in the rear than I did. I've got 2 cleats on the side. I got a cleat if I'm just using the anchor without using the trolley, and I got a smaller cleat down there. One of the cleats actually comes with the trolley kit. I suspect it's probably the smaller one there. Anyway, I just use it to keep the cord kind of tight. One thing that I did was a little different than what they call for, is I turned those pad eyes, I turned them sideways because I wanted a little bit more resistance so it wouldn't be as apt to move around on me until I got it cleated. So anyway, so like I said, I do use the cleats to, 1, anchor the trolley in position, and 2, latch my anchor to. So works well. We've used it quite a few times and it functions pretty good. Comes with a lot of cord on this, probably enough cord you could do, I don't know, probably a 17-foot kayak, I would imagine. I just hate throwing cord away, so I just made several knots on there and then rolled the rest up so I have the cordage if I should ever need it. But what I did with that, I just took the Harmony seat, put the Yak Gear Seat on top of it just to make it a little more comfortable. And we were out for about 5 hours today, and I can tell you that as far as how it felt on my hind parts, it was pretty comfortable. The only thing that was bothering me was that back piece, both of those 2 rods have come out of there, and that was sliding down, so I really wasn't getting much support in my lower back area, which that was kind of a pain. So I really got to do something with that to improve how that works. But like I say, something I'm thinking about, and something probably I'll have to do updates on in the future. But anyway, pretty much that's my kayak, and like I said, it works well. I opted for a tandem. I really wanted one of the single seat fishing kayaks, but my wife does not swim, so therefore, but she does like fish. So that's why I opted for the tandem versus one of the single seat fishing kayaks. Probably my next kayak will be a single seat fishing kayak, so that when I'm out by myself, because I think this one is a little hard to steer from just one person. At least that's been my observation on it. I've only had it out by myself one time, but it was not a good day. And I think it was probably because of things I was doing. But some things that I've also done is not happy with the cooler. I think it's too big. It's too tall, and it's a little too wide. So what has been rolling around on my head on that cooler is to chop about 4 inches off the height and take about 2 inches off of the width, so that it nests right down in that little spot over that center seat and gives me plenty of space on either side for my legs. And it also is low enough that I can swing legs over the top of it to get out of the boat pretty easy, because that's the difficulty that I have with the height of that particular cooler. I suppose ultimately I could go buy a fish bag, but those are pretty pricey if you've looked at them. So my solution was, hey, a cheap cooler, put a bunch of pad eyes on it. I put a rod holder on the side for my person that rides up front. I put a cup holder on it for me in the back. I also put a Railblazer rod holder right there, and it also has 2 spots so I can stick my paddle there quickly if I need to, and that works pretty well for me as well. I had because I bought the egg crate kit from Yak Gear, it had that pouch, so I just added that to the cooler, and just figured it was a good spot for it. But anyway, and as far as my crate, there's a million videos on crates for your kayak. I'm not 100% satisfied with how mine's set up, but I do like it a lot better than I've had it so far. The Yak Gear crate comes with 2 rod holders, so I put those on the side, and then I bought one of the triple rod holders and put it on the back. This gives me space. I discovered in my garage that I had a monopod, and it has a mount on it, and when it is down in there, it fits pretty securely. So I have a handy dandy camera mount, and I think I can probably also reverse it to make it so that it will hold a GoPro in the future from the other end. Like I said, this is my crate. That's where I put my anchor. I created that. I got tired of mud being dripped inside my boat, so I put that, hooked that to the crate, so now all the mud drips out back out into the water. So it works pretty good. Adds a little upper weight that I do notice a little bit in the boat, so when it's stored back there, but it works pretty good. The bungees are just tarp bungees. You can get them anywhere. Come in lots of colors. I kind of like the red going with the black. It's just an aesthetic thing for me. As far as the top piece, those are actually motorcycle gear straps to strap stuff to the back seat of your motorcycle. I just repurposed them. Took off about half the hooks, so there are only two hooks remaining, and looped that across the top, and when I had my rollover, everything stayed inside there. So works well, and they're only about $5, so you can't go wrong with that. But that's pretty much my setup. My cooler, my crate, and my kayak. So I hope that makes you answers the questions that you had, and maybe give you some ideas for your own. And I am ready to take ideas for my own kayak from other people as well. So by all means, feel free, throw your comments down there, and please subscribe.